If you have ever dipped even a toe into the history of our region, you know that oysters are a big part of this era's economy and heritage. Maybe you have heard there were even oyster pirates and oyster wars in days gone by.
Well, one thing almost all of old oystering stories have in common is that they're all about men. Almost all. Jim Duffy of Secrets of the Eastern Shore is here with an oystering tale that stars a trio of plucky, petticoated pirates. Plucky, petticoated
Good afternoon.
pirates. Yeah. So how did they, the three Ps, end up in our history books?
All right, so the Oyster Wars, to kind of oversimplify, like two things happened, right? New technology comes in, dredging, which they scrape the oysters off the bottom and get a lot more oysters than the old school tonguing way.
Okay.
Second, there's kind of like a foreign invasion. New England, they used that new dredging technology to scrape their oysters to the point where they didn't have any more oysters.
Ooh.
So the oystermen up there started coming down here.
Ooh.
And there were a lot of worries that all the oysters here were going to disappear too.
Right.
So there's all these rules put in. You can dredge in this state, but not in this state. You can do it in this river, but not in this river. And the greedier members of our oyster community started kind of messing with those rules and going places they weren't supposed to and taking too many oysters, led to all gunfire and law enforcement. So those are the Oyster Wars.
Okay.
1883, a guy becomes governor of Virginia. His name's William Cameron. He's a Civil War veteran. He decides he's had enough of this. And he personally takes command of 2 steamboats and goes out looking for the pirate fleet of Admiral Jim Skaggs, all right? He's got a lot of boats. But the pirate is smarter than the governor. The pirate has an elaborate, kind of almost military precision in his operation. There's like scout boats and there's signals. And every time he thinks he's going to get one of these boats, the boat just poof.
So the governor thinks he's going to get one of the back. Okay.
The governor can't find any pirates anywhere.
Okay.
So it's not working out for him.
He gets towards a cove on the eastern shore of Virginia. And he pulls up, and there is one of Admiral Skaggs's boats just sitting there. And he's like, full speed ahead, boys, we got him now. And the guys that were on that boat, which is called the Dancing Molly, had gone onto the shore to cut down wood and get wood for the fires that they needed or whatever else. And the only people on the boat were the captain's wife and his 2 daughters. They did what plucky, petticoated pirates do. They furled the sails and got going, and they were tacking this way and that, and the governor is steaming for him. Can't you just see him with the dresses flowing in the wind? They're probably wearing these bonnets in, 1883. And they beat the governor. They got out and escaped from the governor. It was a disaster for the governor. It's really kind of unfair because he actually did some interesting and good things, but the only thing he's remembered for was these 3 plucky, petticoated ladies.
And they even made fun of him.
Oh my God, the Norfolk Academy of Music created an opera about this humiliation.
No.
He had stupidly invited newspaper reporters to see his big triumph for chasing. And so they ran it in the local papers, and then papers all over the country put it up. There's a big magazine in Philadelphia, did like his 3-page poem, put it on the cover. It was not good for the governor. And the unfortunate thing as like a history nerd is that nobody ever named who these 3 women were. But actually all the local people too got up on the shore and started like cheering them along. So I wish that I could, like, some family here is descended from these women, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could give that family credit so they could take a little pride. So we'll just have to, raise a toast to all the ladies out there who have the spirit of the plucky, petticoated pirates in their hearts.
All right, Jim Duffy, as always, thank you, and we'll just clean up all the spit off of our table later.
A little bit later on.